Mute. Hi.
Yeah, Alexa, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Looks like
Can you hear
we
me?
hear you good. Looks like we're about T-minus 1 minute. And then,
Yeah. It looks like we're complete.
so
Well, I don't see Ray. Is Ray coming, my
I
Amy?
think he was
He's
on
actually, I'm
I'll
sorry,
go ahead.
he's actually on the phone with Phil Lyman right now. So
Okay.
he's gonna try to join
Yeah.
as soon as he's done.
Okay. Well, that should be fun.
Hey, it's part of the report, Alexa, but a very few minutes ago, I got some draft first quarter financials.
Oh, cool.
In itself, it's a small miracle. So thankful for that. I don't think they're completely accurate, but they're close. I would say 90%.
Oh.
Yeah, which is good. So it's
Well,
not.
that's not bad within 10 days.
Yeah, I'll present those tonight as part of my report. I got them ready to go. So no, it's good view of
Nice.
where we look. Few items, few expenses, small amounts, but I made note of them too. So it'll give a good representation, and then I'll put them on the public site as a draft, and then update as I work back and forth with Larson to iron a few of them out.
Okay. Well, it's 5:30. So I
Good deal.
think we can do this. Welcome, everyone. Board members and everyone else. Let's call this meeting to order with a roll call. Kind of silly. Can I just say I see Mark and Amy and I'm here, so everyone is here. I think we should do it that way. It's not like we have 9 board members and we have to count heads. Okay.
Yeah, I'll count everybody present too in the notes, so that'll account for it as well.
Okay. Adoption of the agenda. Apparently the grant bidder has not been in touch, so I'm assuming he won't be here. So I propose that we adopt the agenda. Oh, let's make a motion. I adopt the agenda minus item number 10.
I move to adopt the agenda minus item number 10.
Right. Oh, we'll save that. So, well, I'll second that, and then we can all say aye, unless we have something else to say about that.
I was muted, Alexa. I'm sorry. I seconded, but I was muted. But that's okay.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Review for procedures for handling electronic participation by the public. We keep doing our electronic meetings. Public is welcome to listen in and to speak at the public comment period. We'll do that next. We have 15 minutes max. Anyone who wants to speak has up to 3 minutes. So just start speaking or raise your hand, and otherwise make yourself known if any members of the public want to say something.
Hey, Alexa, let's do the approval of the minutes from the last meeting before we move on.
Did I skip that?
You did.
I did skip that. Okay, approval. Thanks, Amy, for keeping us on the straight and narrow. Approval of the minutes. They looked like an accurate representation of what transpired to me. Now I'd be ready to approve it.
I move to adopt the minutes from the last meeting as written. That was March 13th.
Okay, everybody, it's moved and seconded. Everybody in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, now public comment. are there any members of the public who want to speak? Jim, the floor is yours, but you have to unmute yourself first. Otherwise we can't hear you.
Okay, how's that?
That sounds perfect. Thank you, Jim.
Okay. I just want to get it on record that I vehemently oppose selling Chip's old house. You guys have sold every piece of property that the previous board happened to accumulate. And now it's down to the very last place that TUID could ever put an employee. So I want to get that on record.
Okay, so noted. Thank you, Jim. Is that all you wanted to say?
Yeah, that's all.
Okay, thank you, Jim. Anyone else?
Go ahead.
Alexa, I agree with Jim.
Okay,
Good Lord willing, if Ray and Amy decide to move out of here, we're left holding the bag and don't have employee housing for somebody to take care of the maintenance around here. So I think it's pretty imperative that we hang on to that for a while. It'd make good money renting it out.
okay, thank you. Anyone else? No? Okay, if nobody else wants to speak, then we'll move on appropriately to the sale and rental of the TUID property. Back in August, we decided we're going to market this on a dual track, see if we could sell it or rent it. So maybe John, maybe you can start with a quick summary of what you have done so far.
Oh, we placed ads for sale or rent, and we just all the inquiries have been about for sale. We've had none for rental inquiries, unfortunately. So we just placed them in different papers and online. And that's the inquiries we've had that people have asked about. That's really the gist of it.
Remind me when the period to respond to our ads ended or will end.
You're gonna have to help me out and remind me. I don't have it in front of me. Alexa.
I believe it's April the 25th.
Okay, so we got a while to go.
Yeah, I was gonna say 30th, so I wasn't too far off. I didn't want to guess though. So yeah, right around there.
Well, so if anybody ever runs into anyone who wants to rent that trailer, just send them to John.
Hey, John, I got a quick question. Did you email that out to our consumers?
The sale or rental?
Yes.
No, Mike, we didn't email out the ad, but I can send that out. We updated them on it that had been sent out.
Okay, that'd probably be prudent. I think
Yeah.
probably the most interested parties probably live there as far as rentals or purchase.
Okay.
Okay. Ooh, my computer wants to reboot. I have to make sure that it doesn't. I don't think there's anything to decide at this point, right? We'll just wait out the period and
Just
see what comes in.
One quick question, Alexa, did we put a minimum bid on that?
I don't think so.
Okay, just curious.
John?
No, we never have. I mean, we always reserve the right to not accept a bid by setting our own minimum, but there was no dollar amount minimum put on there. Yeah, just like we did on the-
And just like last time, it's not like a strict bidding process when people call out their bids and then whoever is highest gets it. It's more like the start of a negotiation. The last time when we sold to Gene, we took his bid and then we had discussions and decided on a final price after that. I'm imagining that it would happen in a similar way. Like it's not like a strict auction. It's more like, come tell us that you're interested in what you think this thing is worth. Anyone else wants to, Amy, do you want to say anything about the trailer at this point?
I think we should move on it and entertain any offers that we get, whether it be to
Yeah,
purchase or to rent. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
sitting there. It's been sitting there for
yeah,
what, a year and
Good.
a half now, and
yeah. The one thing that we can't afford is to let a $50,000 asset just sit there.
yeah, believe me, I know it's not good for these homes to let them sit. I'm fighting it with the company that I work for. It's a lot of damage, and even if Ray and I did leave, we still have John here to take care of things. So
Yeah.
he's got a house.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going anywhere.
I didn't think so.
Yeah, cool. I'm happy to hear that.
Well,
So we
I'd heard, and again, it's a rumor. I'd heard that possibly, this affects the rental market, that the mine was not going to operate um, fully as anticipated for quite some time, but that's unsubstantiated. So it could be a rumor, and that does tend to change like the wind in Tickaboo as to what's happening and what's not. But yeah, that's just who knows? We need to verify that.
Okay. Well, I guess we can move on to the next one. The TUID power plant C9 generator oil test results and rebuild discussion. And John drafted an RFP to publish on that state site. And I believe you had some discussions with people about it.
Yeah, we've gotten 2 bids initially. Like, so one of them is from Wheeler Cat, which they're always going to be top of the line in labor and parts. And then the other one was from an independent company called Diesel Performance out of Grand Junction that I've used in the past for generator rebuilds. Diesel Performance was substantially cheaper, which is encouraging. Just want to, it's the apples to apples comparison to make sure everything lines up, and they're willing to do that. And to update on the generator itself too, we ran it again per the second test for 250 hours for one more test. And then while we figure out what to do from there, it's good to get this going so we have it in hand so we know what we're looking at. I mean, there's the other option too is to flush the machine. So I'm not going to assume it's going to need the rebuild yet, but we have to be aligning to do that while we're doing these other final steps. When you get the analysis back, when it says it has high lead content, it does list a few other items too, other than just bearings. That can be an issue type of deal. So it's, working with Cat more than likely to do the flush and see if there's any other way, to diagnose anything else that could be a problem too. But while you're doing that, you have to also concurrently look for rebuild and get the bids like we're doing now, in that decision process.
So what time period were you thinking of for the bids? How long do people need to respond, and when will you be ready to supervise their work, and when?
So, once we get this out, I would say by within the first week of May, we do run into the heat being an issue and, working in the power plant when things are running up there too. So I think that would be a good timeline for response. It's specialized enough. It's not like you're going to have 5 to 10 people bidding. You know, it's highly specialized, and Wheeler basically has somewhat a monopoly, you know, in here in Nevada too. So I think I'll verify that with you guys specifically, but just, you know, off the top of my head, I think that first part of May is a good timeline.
Just for the responses to be in.
Yeah, and then that coincides with the other steps of making sure that it, you know, it is bearings versus a turbo or some other part. They say top end, which is not likely for lead. It's unfortunately lead usually is part of a bearing overlay. But yeah, that timeline would match up well and do everything concurrently, and then, you know, make a decision from there.
So do we need an official vote to authorize John to publish the RFP? Mike, what do you think?
Yeah, probably wouldn't be a bad idea. When in doubt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I suggest that we have it published as a draft. I suggest that we authorize John to publish the RFP substantially in the form as presented on the open meeting website, public notice website, I think it's called. That way we can still like fiddle with the details without going outside the bounds of the authorization. So maybe I can make a motion to authorize John to publish the RFP on the U3P website substantially in the form as presented on the public notice website.
I'll second.
And then when you do a 1-by-1 vote on this one. Amy,
Amy Golden, yes.
Mike,
Mike, yes.
and I vote yes, so that is unanimous. Good, well, I'm glad we're moving to do this. Okay, another RFP is the rate study. We've been talking about that for a fairly long time as well. I think Mike first brought it up probably in one of the first meetings we held. So only a year later. Who says we don't do anything? So I think we all had a chance to go over it. And does anyone want to say anything about rate studies or about the RFP or timing or financing or anything? Maybe I can say something because I've been very waffly on whether we should even do this. And might be a good idea for me to express why I now think we should do this. And there are several reasons, but the one reason is that there has been some suggestion that the current rates have a subsidy that water and waste and sewer and waste subsidizes the power. And just as I look at it, that is probably true. And that is a reason to look at it. We have no access to the exact calculations that form the basis for the current rate system. So we're kind of feeling our way around in the dark on it. And when you dive deeper into it, especially the connection rates and who pays what, I mean, it's not logical. It makes no logical sense. So we have to kind of mess with that anyway to not break our brain every time somebody wants a new connection. The other thing is that the Schedule 10 commercial rates has a 32-cent rate for the overages, and that is under the marginal cost at $3 a gallon. So somewhere there has to be a limit to the expansion of what can all fall under that rate. And we have nothing to base an opinion on. At least I haven't found anything to base an opinion on. So it'll be a good idea to have somebody look at that. And then there has been calls from the community for a rate study. I have the sense that they may be based on the idea that if we do a rate study, their rates will go down. I think that we're gonna find that that nobody pays enough. But again, I may be wrong, wouldn't be the first time, and it'd be good to have somebody independent to kind of look at it so that we can at least quit quibbling about that. Because that's also been a year. So those are my reasons for now thinking that it may be a good idea to just suck it up and spend the money.
I agree, Alexa. I think it is necessary, and it's a market standard for us, for utility providers to do independent rate studies.
Mhm.
And I think it's just we've been living basically on a budget of survival mode. So we go from year to year, bare minimum, in
Mhm.
and out, and now we're faced with generator rebuilds. We have no money for repairs. We have no money for any kind of maintenance. And I
Yeah.
think that needs to change for the future of TUID.
Yeah, I agree. It's scary.
It probably is gonna mean the rates are gonna go up. I agree with Alexa that the study's gonna probably come out in that direction, which is good that we do it now and move forward so we're not operating
Yeah.
under these difficult situations.
Yeah, and it includes some different scenarios. Like for so well, anybody can read it, so it's probably no reason to belabor it at this point. Well, do we want to do a similar vote on this? Authorize John to publish an RFP for a rate study substantially in the form as published on the public notice site.
I'll make that motion for what you just stated, Alexa.
I second that motion.
Everybody in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Okay, unanimous. That's great. Where's my text? Okay, the next one is the agreement on the solid waste agreement. We passed a resolution last meeting, and I have we've drafted a settlement agreement between TUID and North Lake Powell, and North Lake Powell has agreed to it. I don't know if they have reviewed the periods and the commas in it, but in general lines, they have agreed to for however many new connections it's going to take to for us to accept a reduction of $2,250 on the connection fees. Should I put that up on the screen for a second? That makes sense.
That might be helpful.
Uh, Do you now see it? Do you see something with yellow highlights?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Maybe can I zoom in a little bit? So. Okay, can we read this?
Yeah,
The highlighted portion is it is kind of the meat of the agreement. Our power connection fee is normally 2,865. And we were thinking of taking a reduction of 2,250 on that. Our water and sewer connection fee is 3,699, and we can take a reduction of 3,250 on that. That leaves us with about $1,000 for actual out-of-pocket expenses that TUID may occur for each connection. At that rate, it probably takes about 4 connections to get rid of the overpayment of $27,093.28. So this agreement is the execution of the motion we passed last month. I think it's a reasonable way to execute it. Anybody have any comments, questions, suggestions on this? Well, that's not too surprising because it is exactly what we decided last month. I'm assuming that everybody had a chance to read through it. So I think we can assume that you kind of know what it says and some level of detail. So let me see how can we make the motion. I think we should go with the substantially in the form as presented again. How about I make a motion to authorize John as the manager and me as the chair to sign this agreement substantially in the form as presented on the public notice website. Anybody feels like seconding that motion?
In the spirit of transparency, I am a general manager with Northlake POW. However, I'm going to second the motion because I would vote to reimburse anybody who was wrongfully overcharged. So I second the motion.
Okay, let's do a vote. Amy, you want to start?
Amy Golden, yes.
Mike?
Mike Morlang, no.
And Alexa Wilson, I vote yes. That means we have accepted the motion. Amy Golden, Alexa Wilson in favor, Mike Morlang opposed. Okay. Well, thank you all for that. Skipping LeGrand. And we move on to board reports. Mike, have you had any adventures in the last month that you'd like to tell us about?
Hey, Alexa,
Mm-hmm.
oh, sorry to interrupt. Can you go back to the regular screen?
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, apologize for the interruption.
Let me.
Okay.
No, Alexa, nothing real exciting. Just same old. Looking forward to getting these C9 projects a little more understandable and see where we end up with those. I was thinking too, along the lines of that trailer, if we don't end up selling it, we could offer it as housing for contractors to come down and work for TUID. Might reduce our overall costs substantially by doing that.
I know. I haven't seen that trailer in a while. Do we think that anybody would want to stay there?
Yeah,
There's no
it's
furniture. There's no bad linens. There's no dishes.
I'm trying to figure out how to
I would,
unshare my screen and I can't even, can you do that for me? Can you do that for me, John?
Yeah, I looked at Alexa.
Yeah,
I'm actually looking at that, and I do not. Let me see if there's anything under advanced.
I'm not clever enough.
Do not see that. There's gonna be a way to stop sharing.
Yeah. Chat.
I can see you now because I swapped your screen back to video screen. That may be something folks can do as well too, that I do not see as far as having a control on my end, because I allow anybody to share who's in the meeting. I don't see how to undo it there. I can see you because I swapped back. It gave me an option on mine to swap back to video.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I have to read the instructions for next time. I did it last time,
Yeah,
so I'm not sure why I can't do it again. Anyway. Oh well, can we leave it this for the remainder of the meeting?
It's
well,
fine.
I have documents to share, so I will probably knock you out
Okay.
when I share.
I don't think so, John. I think it's
Oh,
gonna
here,
tell you that-
stop share. I need
Yeah.
to,
There you go.
it's
There you
here.
go.
Okay.
So it's kind of subtle, but
Yeah.
all else did the
Yeah,
job.
I'm sorry for the interruption.
No worries.
no, as I was saying, I think for a minimal cost, we could outfit that trailer with enough supplies to where our contractors could stay there, knowing they'd have to pay for their own food and this and that. But the amount they charge to come down and stay is crazy. So I think it would save the district some money in the long run. It's just a thought, and it may not come to fruition.
Might be worth exploring.
Yeah, TUID contractors have a bad habit of booking a room at Bullfrog, so they'll be on the lake. So we have to always watch that. Make sure, which is fine if they pay for it, but TUID doesn't need to pay for a lakeside view for those guys.
Exactly.
I feel like the lodge could offer a discounted rate.
Yeah, no, I ran into that with Kat, which is why I'm laughing. So we did address it. To make sure that doesn't happen again.
Yeah. Okay. Amy, did you get a chance to talk to anyone about water right acquisitions?
Well, we're still playing waiting games. We are on the Wayne County Water Conservancy Board agenda for their next meeting, which is going to either be late May, early June. So we're just waiting to find out when that is. We can't move forward at all until that takes place, because that's when we'll discuss what we want and what they can do. I believe Ray has been talking to Phil about San Juan water rights. I haven't heard obviously yet, but I think that was part of a discussion he was having with Phil Lyman. But I feel like the Wayne County thing could certainly work out. Roger Bryan seemed to act like it was not a big deal.
Yeah, well, we're waiting for the Division of Water Rights to come up with their final decision anyway, and we can't really do anything without that. I've
Yeah,
complained that I don't like waiting. I'd much rather
it's kind
have them
of
tell us
cruel.
no now than tell us no now 2 months from now, but
Yeah, it's kind of cruel because we can't do anything.
right. Yeah, I did talk to some representatives of SITLA one, and the sense is that if we're gonna sell water rights, we have to I have to be careful for using the word we in this context. SITLA also has rules about competitive processes that they have to go to when they sell assets. And the expectation is that it's going to be fairly competitive because the rights date from pre-compact, so they're not subject to curtailment if some curtailment happens under the compact in the future. So they are for sale, but they're most likely not going to be cheap, is what I understand. So, so Amy, you have anything else to report on?
I don't.
Okay, I've done some things. I've spent a good amount of time responding to a grandma request. I think between all of us, we spent about 6.5 hours, which was an hour less than I thought. So yay. So we've been paid $75 at $10 an hour up front, and I guess we're gonna have to offer the requester his $10 back. That does bring something up, I think, for the future. I saw in our statement that that our full fee for a grandma request is $20 an hour, which dates from 2017. I don't know when the last time was that I could get anybody to do anything for me for $20 an hour. So I think we should discuss raising that rate just to protect us from endless fishing expeditions. And not that we have the discretion to charge or not charge based on our estimate of to what extent it's in the public interest. But I think we need to think about just nudging up that rate a little bit. Not
I agree.
for decision at this point, but just to plant the seed of the thought. The other thing I have been working on is John and I have had discussions with the C2C, Clean Energy to Community grant people who are doing some research for us, designing an optimal renewable energy like solar panels and battery solution for us. And they pointed us to a grant that we would qualify for. It's not a large amount of money that is available. The grant itself goes from, I think, 900,000 to $3.6 million, but I think the total pot is not that big. So I'm imagining it can end up being fairly competitive. This is the world of federal grants, so there are many hoops we're jumping through. And one of the things I want to discuss is community engagement. Community engagement is a big chapter in the grant application, and Kickapoo is a really small community, and so it shouldn't be all that hard to engage the people that want to be engaged in that. And I'm suggesting to do that in the form of kind of an open house type thing. Maybe early May. The grant application is due on May 31st. Our next board meeting is on May 10. It's going to be an afternoon meeting, but maybe we can do something and roll out the pizza again. John, is the pizza shop open at the beginning of May?
I believe it is. Yeah, like
Yes. I love going to Kickapoo for the pizza. So, I think we should do community event that includes the possibility of looping in via Zoom. And the evening of the next board meeting.
I think that's a great idea, Alexa.
And then leadership engagement and support from leadership is also an important part of it. And Ray is on top of that. I just talked to Phil Lyman, and he's gonna see if I can drum up some support for our project. That doesn't mean that we have to at some point present something. And so it's kind of like we're doing the C2C thing, and then hopefully they come up with some sort of plan that then we can present for the next grant. And if this one doesn't work, it's my firm intention to kick every stone I can find and see if there's some grant money underneath. And I'm hoping that eventually we can just recycle material for different grant applications, because they all kind of ask for the same thing, just in a different format. And at some point, maybe I'm hoping that maybe John can join me for that. I talked to Caden of going to for the county commission and ask them to sponsor the application on a Monday, somewhere in the beginning of May, probably 2 days before the board meeting. Guess it has to be a governmental entity that applies, and then they can give the money to, I think they use the word sub-grantees. They have an awkward word for that fund. That would be TUID. And then there are a million rules about spending your money on American stuff and paying certain wages and, federal stuff. That's pretty much what I've been doing the last 4 weeks. So I think we can move on to management reports. John and Ray.
Ray, do you have anything? You want me to go first?
You can go ahead, John.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna share my screen. Let's see. I'm gonna try here. All right. I'm just gonna do basic. All right, let me know if you guys can see this. It's rather brief. Can everyone see that? Alexa, can you guys see it?
It just says that you have started screen sharing. Yeah, there.
Okay.
Hmm?
About now.
I see it.
You see it? All right, good deal. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this is just a brief report, obviously for you guys. So we got the solar filter in well number 2 repaired. We went through the process, identified what was wrong, which was the solar filter, got it ordered, and then put it in. So we did just put about a savings amount, what we would have done going outside with another contractor, probably about $5,000 by
What's
getting
a
that.
solar filter?
And it's a little capacitor that runs between the VFD for the well solar and then the actual pump itself. So it just sort of an electrical filter / capacitor, little reactor.
So how did you find out that that was the bit that wasn't working?
We opened it up and looked at it, and there was burn wire in there.
Oh, I remember that picture. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll vibrate, and you have to retorque the fittings every so often, or they'll actually loosen on their own, and they'll arc. So, and discovering that one had done that, we also went up to well number 1 and checked all the fittings up there too to make sure they were, tightly torqued.
Now both wells are working on solar again?
They do, yeah.
Thank you. That's
So that's
great
done
work.
there. There's a new federal mandate for lead and pipe inventory to make sure you don't have any. So we were lucky that not only was it due, but I applied for assistance and we won an award for that. And that engineering firm, Sunrise, was down yesterday to gather documents to put that together and submit it for us. Savings wise, we saved about $10,000 from paying a firm to do that. So that part was good there. I just asked the guy what it would normally run to do it. So we did save a little money there for the district doing that. And the good news is their benchmark to worry about lead or copper is really anything before 1970. So Tickaboo was built 1979-ish. So they don't have a lot of concern. And, from what I've seen, everything is typically that black poly piping that goes off the mains into the supply lines. Like so, you mentioned the CPC grant. Of course, we looked at some options for a grid, and with that too. And of course, it's just sounds like it's not a fit for us because of what it is. So we'll continue to look. Anything presented has to be working and proven. So it's exciting to listen to, but it's a little exotic for something that was untested, as we talked about there too. So we'll continue to look for something that's tried and true to help us out and get us into the future that's practical. The audit getting close, so we're on schedule as planned. Just a few items, very typical that they forget this and forgot that. So we're working on that daily. Connie's put in a lot of time and effort to get that going, so that's good there.
Thanks, Connie. And I know you're doing good work, even though you're not like shooting off emails every day like all the rest of us.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Thank you.
Yeah, it allows me to get out and do the things and do the surveys and everything that's due this time of the year. It tends to, the ebb and flow and peaks. This is a peak of busy with consumer confidence reports due, which that's actually done and submitted to. So that should be published once it's officially approved. We should be good to go there. And yeah, again, the lead and pipe and wastewater surveys. So it keeps us busy. The last point here on the report is this picture of the steps, which we're demoing to replace at the tank farm. So they were old and rickety.
So what are you replacing them or are you just removing them?
We're going to replace them.
What are you just using new bits of wood to?
Yeah, we're going to use materials on hand and rebuild them and make it safe to get up there. That berm has to stay at that angle. That's a containment berm, in case the tanks have a leak. So it has to stay there. But we get in there to, look at fuel levels and change the fuel filters. So we had to have access to this. It's not a daily thing or a weekly thing, but access still has to be there. And And also look for leaks too. I mean, that's so they just kind of visually survey and make sure there's nothing, leaking up there when we do our checks too. So that is really a daily part of it. So that's my report. And I'm going to share another item here. Go back, share again. Let's see. Okay, got this. Oh, all right, I'm sharing the same thing. Okay, here we go. All right, give me just a second here. All right, let me know when you guys can see this.
Got
Yep,
it.
there it is.
We got the first quarter financials in today. Again, they're raw. I would say they're 90% accurate, but we did do a little bit better in pushing Larson to get them done, and they responded, which is a small miracle. I'll put these on the public website too. I'll go through them briefly. What I'll say is, a year-long budget, you're going to have both income and expenses that happen in one quarter, more so than the others. The goal is obviously they even out within a year, but as we, divide a budget into quarters, there are differences. And I'll give you an example, starting with income. You see our electric usage rate it's due to the just bill for 1 year. So that's always going to be higher in the first quarter. But as you can see there, we're over budget now. We're over $21,000. Water income is down slightly. It's really trended that way. So that's not really alarming. From what we budgeted from past years. So that's normal to there. But we were is 3,500 down and some change to what was budgeted there. And that does include any sewer income. Some odd dollars is close to being on budget. Under the solid waste income, garbage revenue is down a bit. It's kind of trended that way. You see we're about 1,800 down to budget there. It was that way last year as well. Landfill, you see, I don't know if you guys can see my comment there. They always miss that. I guess because it's entered manually through bill.com, but the actual revenue was $2,531.03. So budget 2,674, not far off the mark there. So see if you see total solid waste income, my comment here with the landfill revenue added in, it would have been 59,2943. So not as far under budget as we see here on their total solid waste income. But you can see we had a gross profit of the 136 and change and budgeted 122. So we're a little over $14,000, over budget on total income, which again, that's likely attributable to the overages that we get in.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
It could be positive, but realism is you got to know where it comes from, and we do know that too. As we go down through here, I'm not going to go line by line. You can see the different expenses that we have. We haven't expended a lot. They all come due at one time during the year. So, for example, the automobile and all that is a one-time payment to, government's trust. It's going to be a $15,000 payment. At some point in the next month, it's going to be over, but then it evens out for the year. How that works. For supplies and fees there, again, we're in line there. We haven't done any meeting and travel yet, so we're down there too. Postage is a little bit higher than normal, but prices have probably increased there. Management fee, we know what that is, so nothing there. Accounting, we're under there. And as a total for professional fees, we're under budget a little more than $11,000, so about 11,750. Yeah, some different regulation fees. You can see there. What's missing here, under telephone expense, there should be an expense there because that is actually for the, we don't have a telephone expense. We have Beehive Internet. So that would probably be right in line with where we are. That 1,200 should show expense. So we're not actually under budget by 1,200. It just got missed being put in there. But that notwithstanding, you can see the expenses overall, the 33,000 budgeted, the 47, that's off to, that difference is a little bit higher. Minus the Beehive there. So we're under there overall. Generator cost, you can see here, fuel is always our biggest driver, expense wise. Actual was 34,390. We budgeted 60, so we're 25 under. That looks really nice. I'm pretty sure that'll catch up in the summer though. So that's
Yeah, you just came up with that number by chopping the total yearly amount in 4, right?
yeah. Well, the accountants, QuickBooks indicates that out over that. Yeah, over those four quarters.
Yeah.
So it looks really good now, but unfortunately I'm pretty sure that'll catch up.
Yeah.
Mathematical formula will catch up there. You can see here for parts, we haven't bought any yet. That'll change at some point too. And then our total cost for generators so far were the 34,390 versus budgeted. So 27 under, which is again driven by the fuel. We use less, the loads are lower, so that's typical to have that. Repairs and maintenance, that's something like you can see we haven't spent a lot so far either. That will change as we get a little bit busier there. And then you can see total operations here, what we had versus budgeted. So we're 37,000 under there for the total and electric expenses combined there. Next one, you kind of see water just as a group, basically right on budget. And what's driven that water expense is that 14,1934 under repairs and maintenance. That is one thing, which is the solar filter that we had budgeted for. So it's over now for the quarter, but the year budget was around 5,000. So that that really won't have much, or it won't be near the 5,000 expended there. So that part is a positive thing. If you look at total expenses down here, 86,000 compared to the 121 budgeted, so about 35 under. And then you see our NOI here. We budget to break even, so we show 50,000 NOI to a 500 budget, so 50 over. And then our net here, 66,885, 76 is our net income for the first quarter. So good stuff. And again, this time of the year we do save money. That's the goal always. But yeah, some things give expenses a break this time of a year and pad income, but nonetheless it's always good to be where you expect to be on the financial end. So that's where we plan to be, and looks good so far. I'm still waiting on some fourth quarter last year reconciliations, so these actually beat those out, but we're working on those from Larson too to get those. But I'll post these on the public website by tomorrow. I didn't get them in time other than to scroll through them and get them done today out. So but they'll be on there as well for review there.
I have 2 things to say about that. One, that is good to know that if there are no crazy things happening, we're pretty much on track with the budget, and that where there are discrepancies, that pretty much what caused them. So that gives me a sense that we're kind of in control of our budget, which feels good.
Yeah,
So
it's
thanks for
a
that.
smaller budget, which is nice. you know, to be on top of it. But yeah, you know, doing it every day and knowing, no, we have a good feel, you know, for that, and are on top of it as far as that goes too. And one other item I'll mention, I think I mentioned it to you guys as a board via email. I'm working to, you know, help us on fuel. I've asked both companies. You know, we send out bids to 3 companies. One never bids. Pilot Thomas, we'll get a bid from Pierce and then often and sometimes not. But I'm working with both to use their Opus index better. And what I mean by that is having them help us use it by giving daily updates. And often, especially, they'll grab fuel from different terminals in Colorado, of course, Utah, Salt Lake City, and then Las Vegas too. And they can send prices on what they're at. You know, that it's actually can be a different price depending on where it comes from. And they've offered that, you know, let's say Pierce's price is $3.21 a gallon. It often says, I've got 2,000 extra gallons that has to go to Bullfrog anyway. I can do it for $2.89. Do you want 2,000 gallons? You know, the answer would probably be yes. You know, doing that a couple times a week or a couple times a month versus one delivery. At the end of the day, if you're still getting 6,000 gallons in a month, the difference is going to be the price. So we're working on that. And again, instead of us doing, you know, the work like a stockbroker, it's these guys sending out an automated email that has all those indices in there, you know, daily to look at and offering that. So we'll see how that, you know, it sounds really good. You know, the determining factor for success is if it really works to be able to do that. And it should, but you know, the goal is to keep, or well, I won't say keep, but to get the cheapest fuel we can. We can't control the prices, but the other development that sounds a little bit positive for us as it goes with often maybe Pierce, but you know, they're building a depot in between us and Grand Junction, a huge one. So that is a closer place to get fuel too. Yeah, it's massive, right off 70. So maybe that'll help us. I don't think, you know, realistically, it's not going to keep diesel under $3 a gallon, but at least we're doing everything that we can, you know, with what's in our control to help that out. But that's it for the updates. No, it's just it's a busy time of the year with everything that we have going on, but it's expected, you know, having close to a year or this routine under our belt definitely gives you better insight and, you know, more comfort, you know, in the things to do and what you anticipate and, you know, being on top of them too.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Jay, you have anything to report?
Nothing as good as what John just reported, but just a couple items, Alexa. I didn't realize that TUID had its own Google page. We just found out recently. So when you go to that, when you Google Tickaboo Utility Improvement District or TUID, and then you go to hit the call button, it would take you to the old phone number. It would take you to the old address. So I had to take ownership of that to change it all. And it's all pending, but I think it has finalized. And when it does, then we'll figure out how to give ownership to the district. I'm not sure how we can do that, but we'll figure that out. So anyway, there were some people interested in land, and they couldn't get through to John and Connie to find out about utilities. So when that came to our attention, we fixed it quickly. The grant that you were talking about, I already have a few people who are going to work on doing the letters for us to get that. And just John, your steps that you showed us a picture of up at the farm. Amy and I have experience in federal grants, so just be ready to make those steps ADA accessible. And as Amy mentioned, yeah, that Wayne County, I did find out that because they gave us originally a figure of 1,000 to 5,000 annually for the Wayne County lease on water rights, but I'm finding out that's probably gonna be on the lower end of that, guess. So, that's good news.
Mm.
And, yeah, Phil Lyman's put me in touch with the person for San Juan County. They do have the Colorado Basin, so we'll talk to them. I think I have an appointment with them Thursday or tomorrow or Friday. And then the only other thing is, the assessor's office called, regarding the, transactions on the mobile home, the Fleetwood. And I think, we've resolved it, but, she's gonna dig into it a little more and then, she'll let us know, but I think it's gonna be okay on that, regarding the purchase of the mobile home back in, 22.
So what was the issue exactly?
It seems like there wasn't any tax paid on it for a while.
Hmm.
I explained to her, how how the, resolution was passed, the purchase was made, and that we've actually had, or TUID's had a ownership of it since, I think, October of 22. And then it took us a while to title it, obviously, because there wasn't a sitting board and there wasn't a management company. And I think
Mhm.
as soon as we got our hands on it, we did it in May of last year. So, and Tickaboo, of course, is exempt from any of those, property taxes. So I think that's gonna resolve everything, but they're gonna do a deep dive in and they'll let us know.
Okay, thanks, Ray. That was it?
That's it.
That sounded like maybe that wasn't enough. That was not how I meant it to sound.
I can give you more stuff, but it's not TUID related.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I know you're always good for a good story. So, but we'll take that offline. We have only one thing left to do, to adjourn. You know, I would entertain a motion.
I motion to adjourn this meeting.
And I will second, and I just wanted to thank everyone that attended the meeting as we had a good turnout. That's something that's kind of rare. So it's good to
Yeah.
see that everybody's engaged and paying attention. Thank you
Yeah,
all.
thanks for mentioning that, Mike. I appreciate everyone's interest in TUID, and if you have any questions, remarks, anything, you know where to find us. So we have a motion and a second to adjourn. So everybody in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I can't hear Mike anymore, but we have two is good enough to adjourn. So let's do that.
I said aye. Sorry, Lex, I was
Oh,
muted.
yeah, okay. Well, you all have a good evening and thank you all for your participation, and
Yep. Thank you,
we'll
everybody.
do it again next month.
Right. Have a good one.
See you then.
Yeah, bye.